talk more on that, rapture revelation. But before I go in that direction, I want to talk about Kingdom Church of Houston, which emphasized worship, the manifestation of God's presence, and reaching the whole person, spirit, soul, and body. How did this vision take shape, and why is so central to your leadership?
That's a very good question. Over the years, I've really been able to be a part of some really great ministries. And I worked on staff. Me and my wife were on staff, I think at least 3 or 4 different churches. And I was operating as a youth minister. No, maybe about five churches. I was a youth minister. And so, of course, as a youth minister or person on staff, you see a lot of things that, you like, and then you see a lot of stuff you don't like, things that like, man, if I ever had a church, we do it like this or whatever. So I never wanted to be a senior pastor. Wasn't my dream to do that at all. I love working with youth. We were seeing a lot of youth get converted and get discipled and lives turn around. But the Lord called me back in 2011 to start a church. And I didn't want to start a church. I was trying to stay on staff where I was. I was at my father-in-law's church at this time. And it was comfortable. We were there working with youth, and I was working on his radio broadcast and helping him get books written and just really supporting him and holding his hands up. The Lord said, no, I want you to start a church. And I said, well, God, there's a lot of churches out here. If you want me to be a senior pastor, just call me to a church. That was my thinking. I won't, you don't have to start from scratch. He said, no, I want you to start a church. He told me the name was Kingdom Church. And then he told me that our goal would be for people to have an opportunity to experience the power and the presence of our King. I think a lot of churches, we talk about the attributes of God, but people don't get to experience those attributes. You were talking about, somebody was talking about barbecue restaurant earlier or something. And y'all, we can talk about barbecue, we can look at barbecue commercials, but until you go sit down at a barbecue place and bite into some ribs with the barbecue sauce running down your mouth a little bit, you don't get to experience it, So somebody can describe it, they can talk about it, they can show you pictures of it, but until you actually experience it, you don't know what it's like to have Texas barbecue, right? Same thing. I went to churches all my life, and in the Black experience, our culture, he's a doctor that never lost a patient. He's a lawyer that never lost a case. He's a bridge over troubled waters. All that stuff, right? And he can heal the sick. He can raise the dead. He can blind, all that stuff, during the part we call the hoop, in the Black church.
Open, yes.
But never saw it. Never saw anybody raised from the dead. Never saw blind eyes open. Never saw anybody deaf get their hearing back. Never saw any of it. And, if he's a doctor never lost a patient, a lot of them churches I was at, God was losing a lot of patients. People was dying. They was dying of cancer. They was dying of diabetes. They were sick. They were getting amputated. All kind of things. Oh. And I said, God, this isn't right. So, Paul said, I didn't come to you with eloquence of speech, but demonstration, right? And then he said also over in Romans, 1:16, he said, we're not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, for it is the power, right? So there ought to be some power in what we're doing, where we are. So we started a church in 2012, April the 1st, 2012. We started at a clubhouse Ponchos community here in Houston. And the Lord did everything he told us he would do. So at our church, we've seen the dead raised. We've seen blind eyes open. We've seen deaf people get their hearing back. We've seen several people healed of cancers and tumors shrink, brain tumors and heart problems and all kinds of things, because we wanted people to come experience the power and the presence of our King.
Come on. Praise the Lord. Thank you so much, Pastor Rondy, for sharing that. Really appreciate it. I want to go over to your book now.